I just created a clone of myself, but can you tell the difference? Minimax released image to video, so of course we're going to be comparing that to Runway, and Meta just changed VFX and video editing forever. This is your AI film news of the week. I'd like to kick things off by thanking the TV Academy for inviting Shelby to speak at the recent AI and Education Summit. Okay, let's get to the news. I want to kick things off by talking about Minimax's new image-to-video model. So you might already be familiar with Minimax. They essentially have allowed you to type in text and get video up until this point in time. But now you have the ability to upload an image and get your video result. Now, they released a video with the announcement that basically showcases the model in action and tries to create a cohesive film just from the new tool alone. And the results are pretty cool. I gotta admit that some of the results seem a bit distorted, like it's not perfect animation at this point, but it is pretty darn good. Let me show you how to use the tool. All you have to do is go to the Halu AI website. There's a link below this video. If you actually search for Minimax, you may not actually find it. So be sure to click the link. And in the prompt box here, you can click this little image icon to upload your image. I have this image of this little teddy bear guy in a lake. We'll go ahead and import him. And for our prompt, we'll say a cinematic bird's eye view shot of a teddy bear swimming around a lake. And I'm gonna have our prompt assistants turned on. You also have the ability to convert English text prompting into Chinese and then paste it in here. Sometimes you get better results from using translation like that. And go ahead and click create. So let's take a look at our results. So we have our teddy bear character here, and it's pretty cool. Like when he hits the water, you see the physics and the ripple come off of the waves there. And honestly, it looks pretty realistic. It's not perfect, but I think it did a pretty good job. It's really funny, like the teddy bear just gets mad at the end, like he's kind of based on like Ted, I guess, and just like getting really angry by the fact that he's been thrown into the water, which is just fantastic. Now, I wanted to compare the result that we got from Minimax to the same result inside of Runway. And inside of Runway, we got this video, which you can see that the bear really, there's just not a lot of life. He's just kind of like sitting there in the water, not really doing anything. But at least the ripples coming off the bear, that does look pretty realistic. And we did another example here. So I have this image of this boy running, and the result from Minimax looks like this. So slow motion running, you can see there's a lot of distortion in the hands, and it kind of goes out of focus there at the end, but generally looks pretty realistic at a quick glance. And the generation from Runway looks like this. And you can see that I really like the way the lighting changes as he kind of like runs into what would be the shadow. The problem is inside of Runway, there's always more contrast than what you originally brought in with your image. So clearly it's reinterpreting that image and just applying more contrast. So you might have to do some post-processing if you are trying to just get consistency and not hyper contrasted visuals from Runway. So after our quick test, I would say that it's kind of a tie. Runway is good in some cases, Minimax is good in other cases. Now, I should note that Minimax creates videos in 25 frames per second, but if you're working on an American film, you need it in 24 frames per second. So that simple detail alone might make you want to focus on using Runway as opposed to Minimax on a project. But of course, you can use AI tools or video editing tools to change it from 25 frames per second to 24 frames per second. Now, unfortunately, the days of Minimax being unlimited and free are coming to a close, but they are announcing some paid plans. Essentially, they said there's going to be three options. One, a free plan that basically gives you a very few limited number of credits that you can use to create videos. Number two is a middle-of-the-road $10 a month tier that gives you 1,000 credits. We have no idea how many generations 1,000 credits will give you, but I imagine that it will be lower than 100. And finally, they have a $95 a month plan that gives you unlimited generations, up to 5 generations at a time. It's essentially exactly like the Runway plan. The big difference is with Minimax, you can only generate 2 generations at a time, even on their highest tier, whereas with Runway, you can generate up to 5 generations at a time. So if I had to pick and choose, I still would select Runway, especially because there's all sorts of other AI video features inside of Runway's platform that extend beyond just image to video. And speaking of Runway, they released the ability to use first frame and last frame uploads using their Gen 3 Turbo model. So if you want to say what the first frame of your video clip should be, and then what the last frame should be, it will automatically interpolate between those two frames. We came across this really funny example over on X of this jellyfish turning into a floating cheeseburger. 10 out of 10, amazing job. And Timmy from Runway shared a few different examples as well, like this scene that changes from fall to winter. We also have this video of Mudang turning into pesto. And we have the shot here of this guy who put on the world's best hair serum and has these luscious locks now. To use this new feature, all you have to do is go to Runway's website and go ahead and click Get Started. Now, make sure you are in the Gen 3 Alpha Turbo mode. This does not work with Gen 3 Alpha just yet. And we have the first frame selected. So we have 2 frames here. This is my first frame of this, space planet. And we'll go ahead and drag it into Runway. And now let's select our last frame and do the same with our last frame. So we'll select this one here and drag and drop it. And for our prompt, I'll say a spaceship approaches Earth, and we'll go ahead and generate a few results. Okay, so we have shot number 1, pretty good movement, and then it just crossfades on. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. Good dynamic movement, and then it just crossfades on. And then finally, we have number 3, and that's what I'm talking about, a transformer asteroid spaceship. I've never seen that one before, so good job there, Runway. So there you go. As you can see, the results we get from Runway Gen 3 Turbo aren't the best, but whenever we have this feature in Runway Gen 3 Alpha, it will be incredibly helpful to interpolate between 2 different frames using a high-resolution model. Now, I should note, if you want to do the exact same thing and take 2 different frames, but use a next-gen model, you can use Luma or Kling to create a similar result. There was also a wild story about a guy named PJ Ace who put together a concept project for a Princess Mononoke trailer that's basically a live-action retelling of the Studio Ghibli film. The response to his project was ridiculous, and so we asked him to hop on the web show to talk about his experience. So what happened with this experimental project that you put together?
I got thousands of death threats, and my wife told me to quit Twitter. No, seriously, it was like it went from the best week of my life to the worst week of my life in 48 hours. It was nuts.
Wow. So can you talk through that? When you posted it, was it an instant success? Did a lot of people see it? How did that evolve?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the lay of the land of the AI Twitter X community is that the first 100,000 views on any video is really positive. It's a safe space, therapy couch set before you. And then outside of that, you get into the Twitter mob territory, and they're not nice, and their pitchforks are very sharp. So the anti-AI community really came out, and ironically, they made it viral. It wasn't really viral before, but they had strong opinions.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, I feel like we were in the same place about a year and a half ago whenever we were doing a lot of our early Wes Anderson parody trailers, and it was instant, right off the bat, very positive. People are excited. Oh my gosh, so funny. What a great concept. And then once it starts getting into the wider masses, that's when some of the negativity starts popping up. And yeah, you see all the same stuff you're talking about.
I think this went super viral in the hater community because it felt like I killed the sacred deer of Studio Ghibli, which is the highest of animation highs for hand drawn and keeping artists sacred and stuff.
Right. And I'm curious, do you feel like a lot of the hate and virality of your project simply goes back to the fact that it actually was pretty good?
Yeah, everyone's like, this looks like dog crap and stuff, but it doesn't look like dog crap. It almost looks good. And I think in their subconscious, it's 6 months from now, 12 months from now, this will be fully photorealistic, and that scares me.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So can you briefly talk about the tech that you use? How did you pull this off?
Yeah, I used a little bit of Magnific because I think they do the best character model, big base models for references. And then I took everything into Midjourney because when you're trying to scale a project like this, I probably had There was 50 shots in the trailer. Each shot maybe took like 50 Midjourney iterations, and then each shot maybe took 20 clean generations. So that's kind of my standard workflow. I'll do a little bit of Magnific for core character references. I then upload those core character references to Midjourney, like from a couple different angles. There's this really good technique where you can basically say a 4-panel collage of your character description in front of like photo backdrop. And then you upload the 4-panel collage to Midjourney itself, and all the like it's like 4 different angles. So then in every scene you want to do, you upload it with like maybe a low character weight, which is --CW10. And then now your character is in any scene with other environments.
Awesome. Well, I'm really curious, what now? Like, you've gone super viral. It was this crazy, project, cultural moment. What are you hoping to get from this experience? And how do you think things will evolve over the next few months for you?
Yeah, it was weird. Like, it got so many views that I actually did end up removing the post because it just wasn't good for my mental health. And then after a few days cool down, like I put it up again just because now it's like, I don't know, it's in a different algorithm. It's no longer in the outrage cycle. A lot of studios though reached out to me, a lot of like Hollywood players. So there were a lot of good outcomes that came from that, and it made me realize like we're starting to build the tools now. My co-founder and I at Filmport to the issue right now is like all of the film tools are stratified in like 20 different things. It's kind of like bake a cake, use this platform for the flour, this platform for the sugar, this platform for the chocolate. And like no one yet has brought all of them together. So that's the tools that we're building at Filmport, is like we bake the whole cake.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And that totally makes sense. And I think it's great to have conversations with people about optimizing those workflows and trying to connect the dots, because like these incredible tools are amazing in their own right, but it's the people that can put them together in a workflow that's seamless, that can save you, some cash, so you're not spending $1,000 hopping between all these different tools to create a quick concept. I think is going to be a huge win. Well, PJ, thank you so much for hopping on the web show. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to share your experience.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
The team at Heygen released an announcement about their 3.0 avatars that you need to know about. We combined that with Google's Notebook LM podcast tool and created this result.
Every time I blink, there's something new and groundbreaking dropping.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it?
Which is why we're diving headfirst into all of it right here, right now. We're taking a deep dive into the latest episode from Curious Refuge.
That is absolutely wild. And if you want to see how you can do that for yourself, there's a link below this video to check out a tutorial. Now, the announcement this week goes one step further. You now have the ability to upload your own footage at up to 100 different angles and generate an AI avatar. So if you want to have a person talking in a video in a style that's very similar to the video you're watching right now, you can do that automatically using AI. Let me show you how it's done. All you have to do is go to the Heygen website and go ahead and go to Avatars. Now click on Create Avatar and go ahead and click Get Started. If you want to do a video version, which are the avatars that are much more impressive, go ahead and click Motion. You can click the text instructions. It really doesn't matter. They break down exactly what type of video you need to upload. Now all you have to do is drag and drop your video file. So I have this video here of me talking. We'll drag and drop that into Heygen, and it's going to want you to check all of the checkboxes, so go ahead and do that. I'm going to not select the keep ambient sounds in my recording, but you totally could if you're doing on-location footage, and go ahead and click My Footage Looks Good. Now it is going to ask you to do a verification where you basically say that Heygen has the right to duplicate you and create a clone, which is very good for security purposes. So I'm not going to do that in this step, but whoever you are cloning will need to create a video and basically upload it to Heygen to say that they have the rights to create a clone. The entire process is pretty quick. It took about 10 minutes to create a clone of myself. We'll go ahead and create a landscape video with my clone here. So again, this is not live action footage. This is AI video. Now, if you want to change the words that are spoken by your avatar, just click the text box here and you can just change this text to say whatever you want. You also have the ability to upload some audio. So first, I want you to see footage that is real life. So this is actually me telling a quick little story. Now, on the other side of the park, you also have Disney's California Adventure. DCA is one of my favorite places to hang out and just get a Starbucks and walk around. Next up, I wanted to show you an example with Hedra, so I took this image here, which is basically a still from the video, and I took the audio that I spoke in the real live action footage, and we put them together, and here's the result. Now, on the other side of the park, you also have Disney's California Adventure. DCA is one of my favorite places to hang out and just get a Starbucks and walk around. Okay, so as you can see, the result is really not that good. It really falls apart. There's a ton of compression and just generally not a great job from Hedra. Next up, I created a clone of myself inside of Heygen, and then I just typed in the exact same text that I said in the original video. So both the audio and the video is AI generated. Let's take a look. Now, on the other side of the park, you also have Disney's California Adventure. DCA is one of my favorite places to hang out and just get a Starbucks and walk around. Okay, so you can see that the nonverbal communication doesn't really line up, and the cadence in which the voice is presenting the information, it doesn't have those natural intonations that make it feel super natural. But it's not bad, and I think at a very quick glance, you might not be able to tell the difference. So I wanted to do one last test. So I took audio that I actually physically spoke and uploaded that as reference audio for the Heygen avatar. So the visuals are AI, the audio is real, and this is the result. Now, on the other side of the park, you also have Disney's California Adventure. DCA is one of my favorite places to hang out and just get a Starbucks and walk around. Wow. Okay, so that is crazy. It's not perfect. I'd say it's still 98 to 99% of the way there, but especially if you used editing and B-roll and the main character was not the subject for the entire length of the footage. Honestly, I think Heygen 3.0 avatars might be a very realistic tool that you can use on a professional project. Especially when we compare these videos side by side, it is kind of hard to tell the difference. Obviously, with the live action footage, it's a little more expressive and those beats hit with the nonverbal communication in the right spot, and the lips have much more dynamic movement. But pretty soon, you can imagine that it will be pretty difficult to tell the difference between a live action person and an AI generated avatar. I'm curious about what differences you saw between the live action footage and the AI avatar. Be sure to let us know in the comments. I'm looking for just those small details that really give it away. Flux 1.1 Pro is here, and the results are even better than the original version of Flux. The best part is the generations are like 6 times faster. People have been sharing their generations online, and a lot of the images look basically indistinguishable from reality. The easiest way to use this new model is to go to freepik.com, click the Start Creating button in the top right, and click AI Generated Image. Now go to the Create tab, and now you get to type in your prompt. For our prompt, we'll say a cinematic still of a humanoid robot running through a field during golden hour, and we'll make sure that we are in 16:9. And you can generate up to 2 images at a time. That does make it slightly less desirable than Midjourney, which you can generate 4 at a time, and then also you can use repeater codes to generate a lot more than that. But 2 at a time is not bad, and go ahead and click Generate. So the cool thing about using this new version of Flux is really how fast the images are generated. Usually I have to do a time warp, but these generated in just 6 seconds. And you can see that the images here look fantastic. I mean, that really does look real, or at least like a really good VFX shot. And then we have this shot here. I love the depth of field here. Now, obviously, even with the hands on this robot character, there's some weirdness going on with the fingers. But with some in-painting and just a little bit of modification, you can see how this would look very realistic very quickly. We came across some cool examples of people using Flux in conjunction with Runway. For example, we have this video from AI and design that's basically just like a 3D biomedical animation, and I think that it looks amazing. I don't really know how germs work exactly, but some pretty cool animation there. We also came across a really cool trick where if you use the code img_1025.heic. So essentially, it's like an iPhone photo upload. It will create images that look like they were shot on an iPhone. So for example, the image you're looking at right now is not real. We also have this image here, which is kind of like Amsterdam or Copenhagen, but again, looks very realistic. It has a lot of the imperfections that you would be used to seeing in an iPhone photo. We have this image here, again, looks very realistic. And then we have this image here, which the biggest giveaway is not that someone is eating an entire plate full of potatoes or that they are eating sunflowers from a salad dish. It's the ridiculous name of this, I want to say it's like ketchup mixed with Aperol, and it's called Kamoma Clock. So I guess there's a product for you right there. Just a half shot of Aperol, half ketchup. You blend it together and put it on your plate of potatoes. Delicious. Now, of course, you're probably asking, how does this compare to Midjourney? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's take a quick look. So I prompted in for a cinematic still of a man in Los Angeles wearing a blue sweater, holding a baseball bat. And the two results we got from Flux are this one here, this guy holding a baseball bat. Let's ignore the fact that he has a double backwards thumb here. But generally speaking, it did a pretty good job. We definitely would have to in-paint that out of the frame. And then our second image is this guy here. Really smart of the AI to crop in and not show the fingers. It's harder to tell that this is an AI image whenever you do that. And then here is the result from Midjourney. You can see that it looks more filmic generally, but there is kind of some weirdness with his fingers there. Like this index finger here has like a weird line in it. So not sure what's happening there. And then the details on the bat, like that, I guess that's supposed to be text, but looks pretty weird. And here's the second image here. And I gotta say, it didn't do a great job at bringing in the Los Angeles component of the prompt. Maybe those are out of focus, palm trees in the background, but you couldn't really tell that this lives in Los Angeles. And the guy's face, he's really coming across as waxy as opposed to realistic. And finally, if you look at the direction of the bat here, it should go right behind his ear, but it's kind of off to the side, so it's not like lined up exactly. And I wanted to do the trick where we try to make the image look like it was shot on a phone. So we said a photo of a woman holding a soda can, .heic with the image 1025 HEIC code. Here are the results that we got from Flux. So we have this one here. Looks pretty close. It's not exactly like a Coca-Cola can, but appropriate number of fingers, looks pretty good. We have this shot here of this woman holding a Coca-Cola can. Again, Coca-Cola can doesn't look realistic to what a normal Coca-Cola can is, but it does look like a realistic can. So pretty good job there. We also have this shot here, and this looks totally like stock photography, like really bad free stock photography. And then we have this shot here, and I don't know what's happening with those fingers. She looks like a pterodactyl. So really bad job on this image. Inside of Midjourney, we have similar images. I said a photo of a woman holding a soda can shot on iPhone. Here's our first result. Have no idea what's happening with the can there, and her fingers, I think, are kind of fusing together. So not great result there. It also looks really cinematic. Like the result looks like it was shot on an incredible camera, not really an iPhone. We have this shot here. Her hand looks a little weird and the can looks too small. And then finally, we have this shot here, which actually does look pretty good, especially if you went in and comped out the can and changed it for the can you were looking for. So obviously, the biggest critique inside of Midjourney is the fact that text can get a little wonky, and the overall quality can just come across as generally more cinematic or editorial, which is not really a problem if you're working on a hyper cinematic, beautiful film concept. But it can be tricky if you're trying to emulate a shot that was shot on a lesser quality camera like an iPhone. So I think this news from Flux is really important for two main reasons. Number one, it just creates more competition, and it really just encourages tools like Midjourney to create tools that are even better and with better accuracy as we move forward. The second is Flux allows you to use Comfy UI to basically use more advanced workflows to fine-tune a model and to basically get maximum control over your image generations. So the fact that its model is getting better and better is a great sign. Midjourney allows you to create images faster. Their Explore page makes it super easy to get creative inspiration. And there's just advanced features like character consistency that make it a better tool for most creatives. The team at Meta announced Movie Gen that looks like it has huge implications for the future of filmmaking. Obviously, from the announcement video, the results look really incredible. I should note that most of these shots are only on the screen for just a few frames, but it does seem like it is going to be one of the more realistic AI video generators out there. Let's take a look at a few of the announcements. There's a link below this video to check out the website from Meta. So there's quite a few different announcements from Meta. The first is that this model allows you to do text to video, which we've seen many times before. So for example, we have a girl running across a beach, holding a kite. She's wearing jean shorts and a yellow shirt. The sun is shining out, and you can see that, yeah, that's exactly what we see here. And it's pretty cool because as her steps hit the sand, you can see that it indents into the sand, and it also kicks up a little bit of sand. So the physics and understanding there is really amazing. We also have this shot here of a sloth with pink glasses laying on a donut in a pool. And yeah, that sloth knows how to live. This shot blew my mind. It's basically a man twirling fire on the beach. And the physics dynamics, the way in which the fire spins around and the light makes it look really realistic. Now, one of the cooler announcements from Meta is the fact that this model will allow you to upload footage and then you can prompt and edit certain aspects of your video. So it's kind of like if Gen 3 video to video only would change certain aspects of the video itself. So there's some pretty cool examples here. So we have this man running, and we can prompt in and say, add blue pom-poms into his hand, and you can see that it adds it into his hands. We can say, turn the scene into a desert, and now he's running through a desert. And then we can say, replace the runner with an inflatable dinosaur costume, and yeah, now he's an inflatable dinosaur. We will be using that prompt for every video generation as soon as this model releases. This also looks incredibly impactful for VFX and compositing. So we have the original video here of this man basically like getting ready for a race, and we can prompt in and say add sparklers into his hand, and you know, now it added in sparklers with all the particle dynamics that you would expect and the light as it moves around his face. We also can change him into a background with a stadium, and it did a great job compositing. Obviously, it changed the color of his shirt, and that was not in the original prompt. But in terms of the quality of the composite, it did an amazing job. And then finally, we have changed the sky to Northern Lights. And of course, it changed the sky, and you have all the colors in the background. Now, because this is Meta, they're also talking about creating personalized videos. So there's a few really interesting examples over on their website. Basically, they had someone upload an image of themselves, and it created a video of them in this scientific laboratory. And yeah, looks like that guy. We have this video here of this woman painting a bear that also might have a little bit of dog in it. You can see did a pretty good job there. We also have this video of this man taking a selfie with a puppy, and gotta say, that's one of the more realistic AI videos that I've seen up to this point. So obviously, I think it's this feature that's really going to see mass adoption. As users on platforms like Facebook or Instagram have the ability to upload images of themselves and then create all sorts of wild scenarios, I think we're going to see a lot more people using AI video tools on a day-to-day basis. And the final announcement is the fact that this tool allows you to do automatic sound effects. So we have this scene of this person standing on the edge of a cliff with music playing in the background, and here's the audio that was automatically generated. Okay, I feel totally pumped now. We also have this scene of a snake. Okay, so as you can see, it did a pretty good job. We're not entirely sure if this tool will allow for multi-shot compilations to where it can create a solid soundtrack through multiple clips and then weave the sound effects together, but at least in its current form, it's a pretty cool demo. I think that this AI video tool is going to be a real competitor to high-end AI video generators like Sora. However, Meta does have a long track record with announcing things and then not releasing them, so hopefully we will get to use this AI video tool very soon. They said that it should be released at the beginning of next year. And if you want to read about how Meta is approaching responsible AI, you can read all about it in this article over on their website. And what's not to trust with this incredibly terrifying AI image with these cold, dead eyes? There are also a ton of AI film events happening around the world that you should know about. Runway is hosting meetups in New York City, Delaware, Prague, and Istanbul. There is an LA Tech Week event next week on October 14th, and a generative AI meetup in Pasadena on the same day. The Korea AIFF is kicking off on October 25th. Fred Grinstein, the instructor of our AI documentary course, will be at the event. We are also judges on the film festival, so be sure to check that out if you're in the area. We're creative partners for a generative AI event in Mexico City on October 21st. And finally, there is a Curious Refuge meetup in West Palm Beach on November 7th. I want to let you know that you still have a little bit of time to upload your own AI horror film and enter in our second annual AI horror film competition. The winner will get $1,500, a free Curious Refuge course, and a few other amazing prizes, including a cursed potato. You have until October 18th to submit your film. And that brings us to our AI films of the week. We have To Wonderland by Matthew Grambert. This film really has beautiful artistic shots. There are some really seamless VFX transitions that are really a great representation of the current state of artificial intelligence, and quite a few different shots that have really good compositing and style transfers. So great job on this project. Next up, we have The Theater by Seif Abdallah. Now, this AI video project is one of the most realistic AI videos that I've seen up to this point. And I think they did a really smart thing by making the entire project in black and white so that they didn't have to deal and worry about color consistency from shot to shot. A lot of these shots, I'm going to be fully honest, I thought they were live action, and I thought that they were basically pretending to create an AI video. But after reviewing it further, it actually is AI video and really just one of the best examples of real physical dynamics in an AI video that we've seen up to this point. And our final project is a Dior Spec commercial created by David Blajovec. And it's basically just a high concept advertisement for a Dior product. I think they did an amazing job with color consistency in the project and just really exploring a creative through line throughout the entire piece. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of AI Film News. Of course, you can subscribe to get AI film news sent directly to your email inbox every single week, and you'll even get a free intro to AI filmmaking course for signing up. And if you want to get the latest tutorials and news directly here on YouTube, of course, you can like and subscribe. It is much appreciated. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. We will see you next time.